Hello and welcome. Let me just set up and then we can get started. So I'll do it here. Projects. Review of... What was it, Twitter again? The Rebels NFT. Right. So, here we are. Let's take down the music and let's begin with the usual disclaimer. We're going to review The Rebels by House of Kalinkin today. This is not a fair review. It's not intended to be a fair review. It's a cold review. I don't know much about this project. I think I've heard the name before, but like I'm approaching it very fresh. And like, you know, I don't know if there is such a thing as a fair review. I'd argue there probably isn't because everybody's subjective and nobody's going to give quite like, you know, that kind of level. Like it's just not possible. And the point of these reviews is not whether I like the project or not. I like some projects that are bad and I dislike some projects that are good. And like anyway, good and bad is an entirely subjective perception. The point of these reviews is to get a sense of how I analyze project and sort of like get a sense of my methodology for how I go about it. Again, not so that you can copy my methodology, although you can if you want to, but I wouldn't advise it because it's better suited to me, but so that you can inform your own methodology of how you analyze projects. Like seeing how somebody else thinks about projects can be helpful to learn, like to inform your own evaluation process. So the goal is that you build your own evaluation process based on what you're good at, based on your preferences, the things that you believe in, the things that you're able to have conviction in. And the point of these reviews is just to take you through my process of approaching such a project and thinking about it and seeing, like, you know, seeing how somebody else thinks. So first impressions, I quite like the art, actually. That's my first impression. Like, and it's quite a striking homepage. With these three women like staring. I think if I expand it, let me just check. Yeah, like, you know, you can see them more clearly. So like it's actually, if I made it the full size, actually let's do this. Let's move it to this, and that way we have the full size thing. It's a little bit odd. Well, I guess that's part of the NFT there, but odd framing there. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a striking homepage. It doesn't really tell me much, but then if you scroll down a little bit, they talk about being a fashion house. So maybe this kind of fits, like, you know, it's kind of a strong visual impression of like, hey, like, you know, here's some style, like the art is cool. These are very stylish pieces, like, and for a fashion thing, then maybe that makes sense. What is this? Okay. 10,101 rebels who will dress the metaverse. That doesn't tell me very much. Something about okay, dress. I mean, I don't like metaverse plays, but you know that by now probably about me. I think it's 5 to 10 years away, so I think it's too early to do this kind of stuff. This is not a roadmap; it's the road to our mission. By the way, I want to point out that there's very few sites that manage to use such a bright green properly, and this one I think is just about managing it. Although I'm not sure why there's a green dot following my cursor. Maybe it's supposed to be just the green dot instead of also the cursor. Become the first fashion house to fully transform into a blockchain brand and to create the platform for the luxury digital wearables. We'll be building a net-a-porter of the metaverse. I mean, if you believe that the metaverse is something that is relevant in the near future, that might be a valid proposition. I don't, so for me that doesn't really work, but let's put that aside and say, well, what if you do believe that metaverse is actually coming this year? Could then this NFT startup basically be the one that delivers on that, and could it, like, you know, be a worthwhile investment? If I believe that, I mean, I believe that at some point in the future probably will be there will be a niche for this. I just think that point in the future is at least 5 years away and probably more like 10 to 30 years away. So it seems a bit early. Although, if by metaverse they also mean augmented reality, maybe a little bit earlier. So it's plausible, but let's see if they can deliver on that pitch. If that is the pitch, exclusive mannequin collection. So there's not roadmap, but here's the roadmap. So collections, high-end designer merch. That doesn't sound like metaverse. That sounds like regular merch. It's not clickable. The Rebels catwalk. None of this stuff is clickable. Another season, another collection. Turn your own NFTs into luxury wearables. Pop-up gallery. Secret vids. Very important. DGen Club. Major Fashion Week runway. Metaverse School of Fashion. Luxury Marketplace Phase 1. Oh god, they've got a token and a DAO as well. Ugh. Okay, perks of ownership. You access the world. You gain access. Your access to the world of House of Kalinkin. Biannual. What? So I don't know about House of Kalinkin. As discovered when reviewing Invisible Friends, I'm really not the target market for fashion stuff. But what is House of Kalinkin? Does it exist? Like, okay, Robert Kalinkin Fashion House. There is some kind of fashion brand. So it's some kind of probably successful fashion brand. I have no idea how successful a fashion brand it is, but okay, you gain access to that. We saw with Invisible Friends that could be a model that might work. Airdrops of curated wardrobe pieces, blah, blah. Be part of our create process. Vote for collections, user NFTs to co-create. So people want to participate in this, yeah, maybe. Be part of the luxury wearables marketplace we're building. Okay, so there's kind of 3 propositions there. One is that you get access to this kind of fashion items, which, much like with Invisible Friends, for some people that's a valid proposition. For me, no. Hold on, let me just adjust this so it's the right size. For me, it's not, but for some people it is. And I'll just scroll like this so you can see. And so that's one, like, proposition number 1. And I like the fact that they've broken it down quite clearly there. There's 3 different user types for this. And they're not just like giving you one and leaving the other 2 really vague. They're making it clear. And I think there's arrows here which might give us more information about these. And we'll click on those in a second. So there's access to the fashion, which is similar to the Invisible Friends model. But there's also being part of the creative process. That seems like a smarter thing to do than what Invisible Friends is doing. Because as I understand it, Invisible Friends with Kith Friends is basically just giving access to the stuff that Kith is making. Whilst here they're saying they're going to include people who want to be included as part of the creative process. And I think that's a good idea, and it's a good use of the NFT model. If you use it just for funding and you don't make use of the community at all, you're kind of missing a trick. Like, the community is like your user research, like your customer research function, but that are paying you basically to be part of your customer research. They're like your biggest fans. You should be like, getting input from them. And finally, like, there's a proposition there, which is probably the more niche one for people who are wanting to build their own wearable, to make their own wearables, to offer them a marketplace to sell their stuff on. And so these are the 3 user types that might get some benefit out of this. Let's just have a quick look at the team before we click on these buttons here, which hopefully will give us more information. Cannot wait for the time when I meet. Well, that's not your name. Indra and Nesta. So I guess these, well, they seem docs. There's photographs of them. I guess, yeah, I mean, there's LinkedIn profiles as well. This is inherently doxed. Obviously, if you're choosing to invite, probably do a little bit more research to, like, to invest, sorry, not to invite, to make sure that you, like, you're like, the kind of research that you might do is just contact, one of the previous employers or somebody that they've worked with before and say, hey, like, is this person legit? And they should be able to tell you yes. Like, at the very least, even the most tight-lipped of past employers will confirm whether there was employment or not. Which, depending on how much you're investing, it might be worth doing that level of due diligence or not. It depends on how much money you're putting in. So, like, if you're putting in what is a substantial amount of money for you, then it's probably worth, like, sending an email to find out that these people really exist. But I'm going to assume that they do, and I have no reason to believe that they don't. Before we go to the story here, let's just click on the perks a little bit more. So here, oh, there's more about the perks here. Excellent. Is it still the same page? No, it's a separate page. Cool. More details about the perks. I like it. Exclusive. So that now is for the person who wants access to the fashion. Exclusive pre-sale access to all House of Kalinkin high fashion NFT collections. So that's the metaverse stuff, though. Curated airdrops of unique designer pieces. That's still the digital wardrobe. Like, so if you care about the digital wardrobe, this matters. If you don't, then it doesn't matter. Full access digital and physical fashion shows. That can be interesting to some people. One custom garment designed specifically for the owner of the Rebel 1 time per year, every year for 101 very lucky Rebels owners. That's a bit of a lottery, but if you win that, that could be really cool. Limited designer edition merch collection exclusive to holders. If it's designed by proper design house, then it might actually be merch that's like nice and that people want to buy. Access to the immersive experience at House of Kalinkin pop-up galleries. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not sure that's a very strong value. Styling masterclasses, personal consultations, and for people who are into fashions, by Robert Kalinkin himself in the metaverse. Okay, that sounds interesting, intriguing. Collabs and partnerships we won't want to miss. That's a bit vague. So I kind of wish there was. So with Invisible Friends, what we saw is that there was. I think you could buy the entire outfit of your invisible friend, of your invisible Kith friend. That seemed a bit more valuable than this, which is a lot more vague. So it's not a negative, but this is a slightly actually less tangible proposition than Invisible Friends. Even though I think this project is a bit clearer than Invisible Friends about what it is. You, the creative director, be part of the creative process. Use your own NFTs to create a unique pattern or a piece of clothing. Voting rights on the collections, I guess. Decide which pieces make it to the final set. Submit your sketch design and return the best ones into a permanent collection of luxury digital wearables. So it's still only like focused on the luxury digital wearables. I still think, like, again, that I don't see a market for that yet. I think that's too early. But if you think there is going to be a market for digital wearables in the near future, then that could be good, like well-designed digital wearables. I mean, it's a flex ultimately, and it's a luxury item, so I think the value can be either really high or quite limited. It really is it's very dependent. Like, what I don't like is, like, one of the things I don't like there is that at the same time it's dependent on these guys executing, or these people executing well, which they might. I'm not suggesting they won't. But it's difficult to execute well. Execution is the hardest part of a startup, not coming up with the idea. And it also depends on the metaverse thing taking off. Because if metaverse doesn't take off this year, which I don't think it will, then this is all worthless this year. All this digital metaverse garments, like wardrobe stuff. If it still doesn't take off next year, which I also don't think it will next year, it's still worthless. I think optimistically, even the augmented reality metaverse, if we can call that metaverse, is a very different picture of metaverse than what most people think of it, think about when they say metaverse. But even the augmented reality metaverse, let's say Apple does really, like, I don't think it's going to take off before Apple releases something, because they tend to lead this kind of adoption of technology. And let's say Apple releases a kick-ass augmented reality headset, like the Apple glasses or whatever, this year, and it works really well. It's as good as the first iPod, or even the first iPhone. Even the iPod and the iPhone took a few years to transform the industry and become really like broad things. And Apple didn't launch an app store until like a few years into it and stuff. So even if Apple launches glasses later today, there's still like a good couple of years after that to wait before this augmented reality metaverse takes off. So I'm skeptical about that aspect of value. And you might disagree with me and find that this is incredibly valuable, but and you, the co-founder, Net-a-Porter of blockchain fashion. So basically you get to list your creations in their stores, which can be a reason to buy this if you're a creator. Like, somebody who's building their own fashion brand in the metaverse. So it's a cool thing that they're integrating their competition in this way. Story of freedom. So at this point, I'm thinking, before going to the story of freedom, I'm thinking the entire thing is predicated on this idea of metaverse, and that's my main stopping point for. Like, I wouldn't invest in this because I don't believe that the key requirement, the key technological requirement, is going to happen. I like the looks of the collection. I like it ticks a lot of boxes. Like, it's got a team. I mean, I need to, like, let's look at the LinkedIn of the CEO. What have they done? The art director actually is also important, but they're also connected to House of Kalinkin in terms of art. So I would imagine that. So let's see, Urge App, freelance. Oh, co-founder and CEO of Robert Kalinkin Fashion House. Okay. Also, it's a Lithuanian fashion brand backed by venture capital. Interesting. Okay, so somebody with credentials that suggest that she should be able to lead this startup to success. And so it's a Lithuanian project. That's cool. If they are Lithuanian based, which they probably are, that also means they probably have a lower cost base than a lot of startups trying to do this in more expensive places, which is an advantage. So it seems quite plausible that they're... Oh, there's the founder. So this is the founder and CEO, and this is the founder and creative director. Doesn't have a LinkedIn. Has this... Oh, that's Robert Kalinkin. Okay, cool. Like, so that's the guy, the founder of this thing. Okay, cool. So he's actually, like, it would make sense that he's directly involved. Okay. So it ticks the box in terms of team, I think. I'd want to speak to them and, like, you know, get a sense of their... Oh, hi, Andre. Yeah, so being in Lithuania, I think, is an advantage there. It ticks the box in terms of, like, so, yeah, at the moment, it ticks the boxes if you believe in the metaverse thesis, which I don't, but some people do, and for them, it might be a good investment. The rebels are 10,000 justice. What was that? Supreme Court's legendary ads campaign by... Okay, I don't know about those. Banned by all courts, including the Supreme Court in their home country. Okay. I don't know about this. It's been... Yeah, I guess there's more information here. If we click here. Story of freedom. Cool. So there's a kind of ideological perspective to this. It'd be good to have linked to these ads, because I've not heard of them. So if they're on YouTube or even some other hosting sites, it would be nice to have to get to see them. I'm not going to watch them in this review anyway, but exploring the site, I like, you know, that would pull me more into the story of this. So cool. There's an ideological side to this. That's cool. I like that. Freedom Fund, 10% allocated for donations. Okay, I mean, like, I consider this not to be necessarily a value add for the holders unless you want to buy into a philanthropic project. But okay, so is there more stuff here that we haven't seen? Okay, this is the stuff that we've already seen, I think. When is the mint? Public, so it's already minted at 0.07. Like, if you believe in the proposition, like, if you believe in this metaverse idea, this metaverse fashion idea, then this seems like a good project to invest in. I don't, so I wouldn't, but let's see what it costs now as well. It's quite cheap now. Yeah, so if you believe in this, if you believe in the thesis, then that's this is not a bad business to invest in. Like, I think it would be interesting, since Indre is on the call. I'll provide some feedback there, but like, it would be interesting if there was so one of the things that you can do as an NFT project is basically, so provide reassurance that even if the core proposition of the project as it is now doesn't quite work out, that you'll continue to iterate and sort of build some kind of value for the holders. And there's a kind of like, since there is already a fashion brand in operation there could be a sort of commitment somewhere that, like, which I guess there is, but it's not entirely clear to me as a visitor there that there'll be like more value coming from from owning the NFT, like that's not necessarily tied to the metaverse thing, as a kind of backup almost to so thanks, KD. But that's not very helpful. You might want to watch a video from the beginning. In my meantime, I'm going to put you on timeout. Yeah. So Indre, I'm going to address Indre directly there. Obviously, this is as KD sort of unhelpfully put. This is all my opinion. Like, I'm just approaching this with my opinion as somebody like approaching this project, and like not knowing anything about it, and trying to make sense of the value from my perspective, which is a very personal perspective. And the point of these videos is not to decide whether I like the project or not, is to see how somebody approaches the project, somebody like me who's approached quite a number of projects like this, and how I analyze it in order to inform other people's investment process. And what else can I say here? By the way, if anybody has any questions, please do post them. Like I think if you believe in the metaverse fashion thing, this is a really good one to invest in, and the price at the moment is very low, so it's very easy to get in. You could, if you believe in this thesis, you could buy like 10 of these for a relatively small amount of money, and like if they do deliver, if like if they do deliver on the core value there, then eventually the price will go up. It seems like a relatively low risk bet or low risk investment. And if you don't, though, it's like there's not a lot, like a lot of the stuff that I think the only limited edition designer merch collections is the only thing there that's real life rather than well, apart from the custom garment, but it's the only thing that's real life rather than metaverse based. And because there is already an operating business, it'd be nice to see maybe, like, I'm thinking if there's a tie-in that somehow like you get some special access to the existing business, like what Metaverse is, what Invisible Friends has done with Kith, for example, where you get to basically buy items of expensive streetwear that usually sell out beforehand. Like if Kalinkin, Robert Kalinkin Fashion House has limited yeah, I mean, you've got this here basically. That could be interesting to people. It'd be nice to also then see what Robert Kalinkin fashion looks like on here, which I guess, I mean, I don't know if this is it. Yeah, that requires a bit of research offsite right now to see where is the Robert Kalinkin? There was a link somewhere. Can't find it anymore. Yeah. Okay, I don't think I have that much more to add. It feels like a good, yeah, it feels like a good investment if you believe in the metaverse thesis at the moment. And if you don't, then it's not so helpful. But it seems legitimate, serious, people who are like competent at building businesses. Will they succeed or not? You know, you never know with businesses, but they have a good chance, like with their experience. And if you believe in their thesis, like I think you could do worse than invest in this business. Yeah. Don't think I have that much more to add. Cool. Well, I'm going to put some music on and back that first striking opening page. Put the music back on, and if there's no questions in about 30 seconds or so, I'll drift off, and that will be the end of this review. So thanks everybody for dialing in or for watching later on. I hope this review is useful to you for helping inform your own investment process. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention. Have a wonderful day. And, you know, as a reminder, closing disclaimer, this is not a fair review. It's not a complete review. It is just how I approach a project, and that's what you get from this. Was there some more here, actually? No, I think we've looked at all of those. Cool. All right. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and see you tomorrow for another project review and another charts live stream. Bye-bye.